Welcome everyone to the DAZN Soccer Show. Myself, Adi Oladipo, joined by former England forward Leanne Sanderson and DAZN football commentator Pien Meulenstein. The Women's World Cup begins next summer. The draw happened on the weekend. 32 teams, 8 groups. The top 2 from each group go through. Let's get into it. Every single World Cup, there is that group of death, right? Everyone's looking at it like which is going to be the toughest group. Me and you were just talking off camera, and you think it's going to be Group F.
Yes, France, Brazil, Jamaica, the Reggae Girls, my home
is that
team.
What they're called as well?
Yeah, they are.
And
then there's going to be a playoff team that's still yet to be determined. So that is going to be a difficult group. I'm happy with England's group. China, Denmark, and then in the first game they play against Chile, Senegal, or Haiti in that first game. So I think that's going to be a pretty easy game for them, and you can't ask for a better draw than what we've got, really. Denmark, China ranked 15th and 18th in world football. I think a lot of people have asked me the question, Leanne, they come up to me, are we going to win the World Cup because we won the Euros? Yeah. Doesn't work like that. As we've seen in the men's, it doesn't work like that. You're bringing in other nations, top nations that can win this tournament. I think fantastic story. Republic of Ireland, first time they've ever qualified for a competition. Doesn't get much bigger. First game against Australia, the home nation in Australia. So that's going to be a great game as well. And I'm delighted that Republic of Ireland are there because they've got good enough individuals. Denise O'Sullivan, Katie McCabe, and it's a fantastic story. And you saw how much it meant to the Republic of Ireland players when they, only qualified a couple of weeks ago.
It's fantastic. Pien, one thing people asked me, and I see people online are going mad about, is that England and the USA are completely different sides of the group and can meet in the finals. That's what we do in this country, don't we? Win one tournament, and we're already thinking we're going to get to the final and play the USA. But it's good that they've separated the two, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a fixture that I think everyone would want to see. USA, England in the final. What a final that would be. It was actually quite interesting watching them at Wembley because, of course, England won that game. I don't think USA were up to their full strength, really. They didn't look as good as they had done in recent years, especially when they won that 2019 World Cup, when they beat the Netherlands in France. They were, just on another level. It didn't seem like anyone could get past the USA there. So it will be an interesting one to see where they are next year in terms of whether those players that they've brought in, because there's a couple of young players coming through that USA squad now, whether they will have clicked in a year's time to be able to, play up against the likes of England if they do get to the final. It will be, like Leanne said, everyone will be expecting England to get to the final because of the success that they had at the Euros. But there are so many teams that have come into this, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, who of course won the Olympics. All these players that are, playing in the WSL as well. So there will be a lot of names that we know that are coming into the mix now. So I think it will be a completely different test for England. Definitely probably one of my most exciting World Cups coming up, just because of the players that are going to be playing in it and the level of football as well. It's going to be brilliant.
I think as well, if Australia don't top their group, England could potentially play them in the next round. And I feel like that home advantage is massive. As we saw at the Women's Euros in England, I think that wasn't the only reason why England won, because they had the best players, they had the best quality. But I think it makes a massive difference having a home tournament. So that's not one that I'm going to want them to play against in that round, because I think England are better than Australia, but you're not going to want to play against a home nation on the home turf.
Australia in a tough group as well, with Canada and Nigeria, the best African female team we've ever seen. And that's what we want, right? We want to see all these sort of the best of that all come together. England are second favourites, the USA are favourites, I guess, to no surprise. Are there any dark horses that you can see? I mean, USA are in a group with Netherlands, who won the European Championship a few years ago. They're a good team as well, aren't they?
I think, well, I'm a little bit biased because I am from the Netherlands. I think when you saw the performances at the Euros, they were good. It's difficult because they've changed managers. Serena Wiegman left to go to England, and when Serena was with the Netherlands, she did exactly what she did at the Netherlands that she's doing at England now. So that's just hats off to her as a manager. She's a brilliant manager, and she can get the best out of players. So again, because there is still quite a long way to go, we'll see where the Netherlands are. But I think that is a quite a difficult group to try and top. Whether it's going to be USA or the Netherlands, we'll have to wait and see. But I think Netherlands will have a good shout because they have got great players, depending on whether everyone is fit, especially the young goalkeepers that are coming through. They look strong. I definitely think, though, I'm just looking at the draw in full now. Group B: Australia, Ireland, Canada, Nigeria. That to me looks like the most difficult group to actually say, which one's going to go first, second, third, and fourth in that one, because then either side could get a point out of that one. New Zealand, Norway, Switzerland, Philippines, Group A. That's also a tricky one. Of course, New Zealand will be playing on home soil, so that'd be interesting with the fan advantage that they'll have there. So there are so many sort of dark horses in this competition. Switzerland seem to be in the Euros. They just haven't quite got those key star players or enough key players to really get themselves through. But yeah, I think a big advantage will be New Zealand and Australia with those home advantage.
I think as well, for me, what I don't want to see, I mean, I think this is the perfect time that we, you spoke about an America final against America in 2015 when I played for England. We had that unfortunate own goal, against Japan. Otherwise, we'd have played America. I felt like we would have given them a big of a run for it. I mean, the game was already over after 30 minutes. Carly Lloyd already scored a hat-trick in the final. But I look at these groups and I think of teams like Morocco. It's their first time ever in a major tournament. One thing I don't want to see is teams going there that don't have the support from their federations and just get completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Like we saw with Thailand against America, in the last Women's World Cup, it was like 12, 13-0. That's not the games you want to see. But hopefully, I don't think that's going to happen to some teams. But you look at Chile, Senegal, Haiti, they could go through. And I'm a bit concerned sometimes that there's one team in each group that don't have that standard. And it's not because they've not got the players, it's because they don't have the backing from their federations.
Yeah. Is there any teams that you look at that, Peen, where you think, okay, dark horses, massive dark horses, maybe teams that don't have a big representation in the WSL, the UEFA Women's Champions League, so they're a bit more rested, maybe because obviously a lot of these players were going off big, long seasons. Any teams in there that might surprise you, do you think?
I was actually really disappointed with Italy in the Euros this season, so I hope that they up their game in the World Cup because they have got some real key players. I love the passion that Italy have for football and the way that they play football. They were just a little bit disappointing in the Euros, so I hope that they can change that and become dark horses. As Leanne said, Jamaica will be a fun one to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing them play in Group F, especially against the likes of France and Brazil. They'll be good. Brazil, again, they're probably dark horses too. They've got some good key players. These aren't dark horses, but Germany will be good because they've obviously got loads of players that play in the German league and not that many, not too many playing in the WSL. So I think it'll be nice to see how they do because they were really strong at the Euros. Of course, England were able to beat them in the final, but it took them all the way to the final, and they had a superb performance. So they'll be a tricky one to beat. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who will be the most in form and will come through.
I think a complete outsider wild card to a certain degree. Republic of Ireland.
Is that Nigeria?
No,
Okay.
no biases here. The reggae girls all the way. No, but I think Republic of Ireland. They're in a difficult group, but they've got good enough individuals.
Yeah.
To compete. Just because this is their first tournament they've ever qualified for, the World Cup, doesn't mean they're going to come and be almost like Northern Ireland at the Euros. I felt for them because every game it was like 5-0, 4-0. Yeah. Republic of Ireland actually have that, and they're working, to be even better individually. So I feel but he made a great point about Germany. You can never write Germany off. Obviously, in the final of the Euros, Pop got injured in the warm-up. That was a massive loss to them. And, these types of teams are top teams. So I'm excited. I agree with Peen. I think it's going to be a fantastic tournament. And obviously in Australia and New Zealand is a great place to be. The time difference will be all over the place. Yeah. The players will get there and acclimatise. But now the draw's been done, I think you can start to feel, the confidence around the England team to a certain degree. And Serena Wiegman, got to give her credit. Back-to-back European champion with the Netherlands and England. I mean, she is the reason. I wish she was my manager when I was there. When I see her, I think, oh my God, I want to play for her. And I think that makes a massive difference.
Yeah, go Super Falcons. Yeah. Quick one then. Predictions from both of you. Who do you think is going to win this one? Start with you, Peen. And you can take your Dutch hat off here, Peen.
That is really tricky. I would love to say England because what I do think, talking about Serena Wiegman, she obviously got to the 2019 World Cup final with the Netherlands. So she will be desperate to win the World Cup this time with England because she wasn't able to do it. And she will feel that heartbreak that she felt in 2019 and she won't want to repeat that again. So I think she will absolutely be doing her best to get England in the shape that they can to try and beat the likes of USA. I want to say England. I feel like that's the obvious choice. Germany probably are going to be up there. I think
You can't choose them all. You got to choose one.
I'm going to say England. I can't do it. This is like a year away, but I'm going to say England.
England.
Okay. Head and heart.
Yeah.
Heart is England.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go in my head and say the US Women's National Team.
Yeah.
Even though England beat them, I just feel like Trinity Rodman, Alex Morgan, and having lived in America for 12 years, I know how much emphasis is on this national team. For Vlatko Andonovski as well, you know, he's done a really good job. They're in a weird transitional period right now, but if they can have all their players fit and ready to go, I think the US Women's National Team.
And that's one thing I really hope as well. Going off the back of the Euros, I hope we don't see no serious injuries. Because it was a shame going into the semi-finals and finals with players injured. So fingers crossed, as you say, Payne, it is nearly a year away.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed all the players can stay fit.
We might change our predictions between now and then.
No doubt you both will. Leanne Sanderson, Payne, thank you very much as well. World Cup's coming. It's coming. The draw's happened. You can start getting excited now. And we will give you all the build-up as we get close to the World Cup in July.